Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 6 of Mastering Regular Expressions from Beginner to Pro with Regex 101. Last time, we learned about anchors and boundaries, like the caret for the start of a string and the /b for whole words. Great for controlling where matches happen. If you missed that, I'll link it below. Today we're diving into groups and capturing, which let us not just match patterns, but extract specific pieces like usernames from emails or dates from text. By the end of this episode, you'll be grabbing exactly the parts you need from your matches. Let's get started. So what are groups and capturing? In regex, parentheses let us group parts of a pattern together. This does two things. First, it lets us apply quantifiers or other operators to a whole group of characters. Second, it lets us capture those parts so we can extract them later, like saving pieces of a match for use in code or analysis. For example, if I match a date like 12/25/2023, I can use groups to capture the day, the month, and the year separately. Each set of parentheses becomes a capturing group, numbered from 1 onward, so group 1, group 2, group 3, and so on. Regex shows these groups in the match details, which makes it super easy to see what's captured. There's also a thing called non-capturing groups, which is this parentheses and then the question mark and the colon, followed by a parentheses, which let us group without capturing. We'll get into those later in the episode. For now, let's jump into Regex 101 and see capturing groups in detail. Let's start by capturing parts of a date in the format month, month, day, day, year, 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 year. So we've got a string here that actually matches that. So we got the month, the date, and the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these parentheses. We know that /d followed by the 2 here will match on these different dates. And we can see the matches, but we don't have grouping yet. So let's put the grouping in, which is just putting those parentheses around it. And next thing you know, we've got our first match, which is the 12, and it's in group 1. We have the next match, which is 25, and it becomes group 1. And the reason it is because we'll notice we can make this more, these groups start growing. Let's start adding more to it because it's treating each one of these matches, and once it's done, moves on to the next one. Now it's done, it gives this a group. Group, 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 group. That's not quite what we want. So let's go continue with our regex. We're going to use a hyphen, so it's going to match the literal hyphen. And we're going to do another parentheses /d, squirrely brackets, 2 parentheses. Now all of a sudden we'll notice that our match is 12/25, and the first group is 12, and the second group is 25. So it's matching. Let's just throw these out of here for the moment, make it easier on us. Got 12 and 25 matched. 12-25 hyphen 25 is what is actually the match, and it's making 2 individual groups, one for the 12 and one for the 25. So our month has been pulled out and our date. We're not quite done yet. We still need to match some more. We're going to go with another hyphen, and we're going to put a parentheses /d, squigglies, 4 squigglies, and now it matches the entire string here, and we have our first group, our second group, and our third group. So if we break this down, we should see that this /d2 captures exactly 2 digits of the month. We can kind of see that /d matches a digit. The squiggly 2 matches the previous token exactly 2 times. Second matching group does the exact same thing. And the third matching group does it on the D4. So each set of parentheses creates a capturing group. Now let's paste back in our whole string. And we'll notice that it matched right here. And what we'll see as we come down, we have a new matching group. and it restarts with group 1, group 2, group 3. So each of these groups is directly related to the match. We notice it'll skip invalid date because it doesn't fit the pattern. We're going to update our test string. And we're going to see that while this is nice, it's still got some problems. It doesn't match this one because it's only one digit. It doesn't match this because it's only one digit. Groups will help us be specific and precise to extract exactly what we need. As we go later in these discussions, we'll be able to use the ability to capture this and this, have a little more freedom in the way we match. But for now, that's not what we're trying to cover, so we have accomplished what we're looking for with the grouping. Now we want to talk about non-grouping. Let's talk about non-capturing groups. Sometimes we want to group parts of a pattern together, like for applying quantifiers or alternation, but we don't need to capture all of it. That's where this question mark colon comes into play. It groups without capturing. Let's use it to match names with a title like Mr. or Mrs., but only capture the name. So to do this, we're going to use this parentheses question mark colon, and then we will write Mr. type Mrs. And then we use a space there. And then we will go /W plus. So we're going to go grab the next word. So we need a period here. So they'll just look for that period, the literal period. And then a space, and then capture the word. And so when we do that, we see that Mr. Smith and Mrs. Jones were captured. And the first group is Smith. And the first group here is Jones. Yes, these match. It's a non-capturing group, so it does not become group 1. It waits till the first capturing group, which is over here. And so we get Smith and we get Jones. We notice it skips Dr. Brown and Ms. Davis because they are not part of here. If we had taken out this question mark and colon, we would get a new group. We'd get Mr. as the group 1, Mrs. as the group 1, and the last name Smith and Jones would be in the second group, but we didn't do that. So that again is what the non-grouping question mark colon is doing for us. Non-capturing groups help us organize our pattern without cluttering our captures. Time for your challenge. I want you to write a regex to capture the username and domain from an email address, like user@domain.com. Use capturing groups to grab the username before the @ sign and the domain after the @ but before the top level domain like .com. For simplicity, let's assume the top level domain is .com. So here are your sample data and what pattern matches user and domain from user@domain.com. You'll want 2 capturing groups, one for the username, one for the domain. Drop your regex and captured groups in the comments. I'd love to see what you do, especially if you do something a little bit different. There are many ways to solve this. Pause the video and I want to see what you can come up with. All right, welcome back. I've put my test strings here and we're just going to go walk through what I did. I put a capture group, so parentheses, and inside that parentheses, I did look for a word. And then I did an @ sign, a literal. And then I did another group. We're doing the exact same thing, /W plus. And then we're going to come out here and we're going to capture the .com. So we get a literal period and com. This would work for exactly what I've taught you. We can see that it goes user@domain. We did the challenge. We captured user and domain. This worked on test, website, But it did not work for Jane.doe, because in reality, we would want Jane.doe as our group. So what are some ways that we could have done that? We could just put a period right there. And that would now capture Jane Doe as well. We can also take a bracket and wrap it around. We won't be doing a specialized course just on this bracket. But basically, this is a character class. It means it matches exactly one character that is either a word character or a literal dot. It means repeat the character class, and then the plus says repeat the character class one or more times. So basically, it's going to be looking for any words, periods, words, until it reaches an @ sign. So that's why it's picking up this Jane.doe. If we take the bracket out, it works, but we could find some interesting things. What if we have Jane-Doe? This just becomes a space, a character, a wildcard for all intents and purposes. And so it's actually going to match here. Maybe we don't want that to match. Maybe we really want it to match the literal period. And so you'll notice if we put the bracket in there, we don't match on slashes. And so this becomes, when you put it in the bracket, it becomes more restricted. It's a little less likely to include stuff you didn't want in there. Go either way, we don't really cover a lot of that. It's just little tiny tricks to make your catching a little better. And anyway, but to capture it in its simplest form, the actual requirement, what I asked for, this will work. It pulls that out. So for my hands-on challenge, there's my answer. So let's recap what we learned today. We explored grouping with parentheses to organize patterns and capture parts of matches, like the month, the day, and year from a date. We saw how Regex 101 shows captured groups in the match details, which is super handy for extracting data. We also learned about non-capturing groups, the question mark and the colon, to group without capturing, keeping our matches clean. And you got a challenge to capture usernames and domains from emails. In our next episode, we'll dive into alternation with the pipe symbol, which lets us match multiple possibilities like cat or dog. It's going to make our patterns even more flexible. If you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments how your challenge went. See you in the next one.